Chapter 22. The heroes agree to help murder a dozen children. I was hoping we'd get to ride inside one of the non-vehicles. I was curious to see the interior, but apparently that wasn't allowed for non-employees, so we were simply told to follow them to the meeting location. I wasn't surprised to see that we were being led toward the converted farm supply store that was now calling itself the IAEEAI Lab and Wellness Center. I wasn't quite sure what kind of occult temple shit to expect inside the building that Non was apparently using as a field HQ, but it was kind of disappointing. Inside was an open space that had been recently renovated for use as offices and could easily have passed for an insurance company's customer support call center. Past an unmanned reception desk were cubicles and glassed-in conference rooms. Against the wall to our right was a series of vending machines and that black coffin thing they'd rolled out in the parking lot a couple days ago. The portable doorway to wherever. A man in an orange jumpsuit walked over to it and opened the door. On the other side, I got a glimpse of what appeared to be a green field on a sunny day. The guy took the last gulp from a styrofoam coffee cup, tossed the cup through the door, then closed it. The office area was only half of the building, however, and the insurance company illusion ended abruptly at a concrete wall with a thick sliding steel door in the center. So, probably not a supply closet. There was a row of red warning lights along the wall, and below them, large painted letters said, "If lights are flashing, perform rites of Black Veil. Failure equals nerve burn cycle. This means you." I thought we'd be taken to the coffin door to hold our meeting in some nightmare dimension where the office furniture was alive and the bagels screamed when you bit them, but no. We were just led to the largest conference room. Inside, one wall featured a single window granting us a view of the misty industrial park. Next to the window was an inspirational poster depicting a bunch of bees crawling over a honeycomb above the words, "Teamwork kills the wasp." At the center of the long conference table was a phone with the speakers snaking out like the arms of a very spindly and fragile robot octopus. Tasker directed us to sit on the opposite side of the table from her. Agent Gibson shuffled over and sat next to his partner with some difficulty, leaning his cane against the table next to him. Tasker said, "Do you want a drink or any refreshments before we begin?" John and I said no. Amy said, "Does your chip vending machine have those spicy Cheetos in it? I have change." I shot her an annoyed look, but, as usual, it just bounced off of her. To my horror, Agent Tasker nodded to Gibson, who sighed, and with a monumental effort climbed to his feet and shuffled out of the conference room, across the vast concrete floor, and over to the vending machine. He returned and tossed the Cheetos bag onto the table in front of Amy and began the laborious multi-step process of sitting back down. Amy noisily tore open the bag with her teeth and shook some Cheetos into her mouth. Tasker said, "Now, you are to remain silent unless asked a direct question. You're not being invited onto this call to offer your opinion, and this is not subject to a vote. You may or may not be asked for information. It will be explained to you what the next course of action will be, and we will seek reassurance that you will not interfere. Are we clear?" Amy said, "I'm sorry, the crunching is really loud in my head. I think I got the gist of it, though." Tasker punched a button on the phone, then dialed, then entered a 12-digit code. There was a tone, and she leaned forward. "Sorry we're late. I'm going to do a roll call. Utah, are you on?" The answer was muffled clicking noises. "Utah, I'm not hearing you." "We're here. Is this better?" "Yes, thank you." "Las Vegas?" "We're here." "Chicago?" "We're on, Jocelyn." "Bangkok?" An answer in a language I assumed was Thai. "Effingham?" Another answer in a language I didn't recognize. "Bernard, I understand you're calling in from the road." The reply was the sound of an electronic voice announcing that gate 34B was boarding. A breathless male voice then came on and said, "Sorry, I'm here. I'm at the airport. Let me go to a quiet spot." "And do we have HQ on the line?" The answer was a series of deep rumbles, like the sound a mountain would make if it had gotten woken up in the middle of the night by the neighbor's loud music. I assumed it was the phone glitching again, but Tasker nodded as if she could hear it clearly and said, "Yes, all three of them are here, my lord." I exchanged a look with John. Amy stopped chewing. Agent Gibson sat up straighter, as if not completely sure that Thane on the line couldn't see him. Tasker, in her most professional voice, said, "You've all been briefed, and I assume you reviewed the memo I sent out approximately 12 minutes ago. The issue, as you know, is that Undisclosed is in the middle of a Class G outbreak with at least one larvae attached to a living host and a second now in containment, en route to this facility. Though there are no sightings as of yet, we now have reason to believe that 10 more will manifest themselves, their origins already implanted in a group of human hosts. We brought in the 3 locals discussed on yesterday's call to talk about options for containment. They are in the room with me now. You should see their dossiers on your screens, designated 919A, 919B, and John. A male voice said, "Hey, this is Tom in Houston. Is this the budget call?" "No, it is not. That was moved to Thursday at 2. Now, as you know, the outbreak can be traced to the entity we have designated B3333B, which is attempting its second breach via a reproduction cycle that has not previously been observed." Amy said, "Excuse me, can you tell me what a Class G outbreak is?" An annoyed voice on the phone said, "Who is that speaking?" Amy Sullivan, I'm one of the locals. Is a Class G, is that on a scale from A to Z? If so, is A the worst or Z? Tasker said, "Class G is a potential extinction level. Please remain silent until asked a question." Now, the method for terminating the larva discussed in the memo was tested during Incident 404 12 years ago, and the result was very, very promising. We will proceed in 2 stages. First, we must track and collect the larvae and contain them in one location if possible, preferably here in the field office. Second, we must create a satisfactory cover story for the termination of same. There will then be a separate operation to disrupt the breeding cycle of B3333B itself. B3333B itself. Amy said, "Hi, it's me again. But just to clarify, we're discussing a plan for kidnapping and murdering a total of 12 children in a country where the entire news cycle catches fire over one missing child, and the idea is to do that in such a way that nobody will care or even be slightly curious. Got it." A deep rumble emerged from the speaker, the voice from HQ. Everyone went quiet. Tasker said, "It won't happen again, my lord. Now, the concerns raised by 919B are valid. The cover story will be paramount. The world will believe these children have perished." Amy said, "Plus any parents or other concerned types who try to get in the way. We will try to minimize that." An elderly female voice spoke up on the phone for the first time. "This is Martha, and I want to register my objection right now. I was assured, that first on the agenda for today would be the allocation of funds for the Miami project. We've been waiting on this since January, guys. This can't wait any longer." Tasker said, "This isn't the budget call, Martha." Amy said, "It's Thursday at 2. Tasker grimaced, rubbed her temples, and said, "The cover story will involve an incident that would leave no recognizable bodies behind, for obvious reasons." John said, "Right, like if they fell into the ocean and got eaten by sharks." Amy said, "Why would they be in the ocean?" John said, "We could have them win a contest or something. Oh, make it a plane crash. Tell them they won a trip. Plane goes down in the ocean, in the part of the ocean where there are the most sharks. So these kids get to experience the terror of a plane plummeting to Earth?" I said, "Well, they're not kids. We have no indication that they can experience terror, and you don't need anything like that. You just need to do it in such a way that the public sees it as unavoidable." Amy said, "How in the world do you do that?" I said, "Oh, you say the kids are infected with some weaponized disease, Ebola, whatever. Say Nymph did it, and you've got to quarantine the kids to keep everybody else from getting sick. Say you're bringing them in for the treatment, and once you've got them in quarantine, just say they succumbed to the infection, that it was too late. Then tell them Nymph is dead and that there are no other victims. Tie up the whole story with a neat little bow." There was silence in the room. The rumble from HQ sounded. Tasker looked very nervous. Amy looked back and forth from me to Tasker and said to the latter, "That's your exact plan, isn't it? I don't know how to feel about that." "Not Ebola," said Tasker. "That'd be a recipe for panic. Polonium-210 poisoning, slow-acting, fatal, but not contagious. Still, the corpse is mildly radioactive, and we would explain that we will be unable to release the bodies of the children, for safety reasons." John nodded. "Then you put the radioactive bodies on the plane, and arrange for the plane to crash right into the mine monster. The radioactive material in the kids' bodies triggers a nuclear explosion." Tasker tried to pretend she hadn't heard that. Forcing calm into her voice, she said, "Again, all we need from you is your assurances that you are not going to interfere." Amy said, "Wait, you're asking our permission?" "We don't need your permission. There is no reason we can't all be in agreement." And if we're not in agreement, you'll have to find some other way. We would discuss that. But you can't harm us, so you need our permission. I said, I don't think there's any disagreement here. You saw the larva attack me. That part of the debate is over. To Tasker, I said, then we should be good to go, assuming, of course, the other 10 children show up and you're able to corral them. If the bikers find them, good luck convincing them to turn their kids over to you shady fuckers. We have a plan for that contingency. Amy sighed and crumpled up her Cheetos bag. I'm sure you do. To the phone, Tasker said, termination of the 2 existing specimens will proceed immediately. Mikey Peyton is secure and will be here within 15 minutes. A team will be dispatched to the Loretta Knoll residence momentarily. Amy said, I want to go with them. You are not going to interfere. I don't want to interfere, but I want to be there. If you don't let me, then I'll interfere. Tasker said, Are there any further questions? The rumbling mountain voice spoke up once again, and this time it continued speaking. It was a voice I could feel in my gut and in my shoes as it rattled the floor. Gibson and Tasker listened intently, the way you'd listen to a jury delivering a verdict at your murder trial, the sound of fates being decided. It spoke for some time, maybe a full 2 minutes, and it was one of the longest 2-minute spans of my life. I tried to detect emotion in that voice, to see if it was delivering good news or bad, if it was angry or pleased, but whatever sentiments were being expressed were beyond me, maybe beyond any human. Finally, the voice rumbled to a halt, the aftershock subsiding. The sense of relief in the room was palpable. Tasker nodded, swallowed, and said, Yes, my lord. Thursday at 2.